Hello and welcome to the December 2011 layout video blog of the Oolitic Branch of the Milwaukee Road in HO scale, set in June of 1966. This month, as you can tell, the staging cassette is hooked up. I've got track power on, throttle in hand. We are going to operate a little bit this month and talk about how I operate my layout and some of my influences. As you know, the layout is a point-to-point branch and is operated as a turn. In Milwaukee Road parlance, that is a patrol. A simple out and back operation runs in two tricks. The first trick serves the quarry and picks up loaded boxcars out of the mill to take back to Bedford. The second trick brings empty boxcars to exchange for the cars from the quarry. That may not make a lot of sense. Kind of hard to explain because I'm also operating at the same time. So, without much further ado, we're going to let the local start its way out. And I'm going to continue discussing some of my operational ideas. Now, here comes our local. I get a lot of my operating philosophies from the Lance Menheim, and you can get a lot of his information from his Shelves Layout company website. Again, I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. One of the big things he advocates is to slow down. Don't go so fast. Take your time. This is the fastest trains move on my branch. As you can tell, it's not very fast. When we get to the other side, we'll have to slow down a bit because the track is in very poor condition. But what we're going to do today is we're going to run over to the quarry. We are going to pull all the loads, the fresh quarried stone out, and bring it over to the mill. And that'll involve a shoving move, which is what our caboose is for. And that's pretty much it. One of the big things too, you'll notice that whenever a turnout has to be thrown, the engine comes to a stop at the turnout, just like the real thing. This adds to the time that it takes to do the switching maneuvers. Now, on a layout like this, that works out real well because the layout is small. You're usually just the only person operating. So here we go. We'll catch him down at the other end here. He's probably crossing the street by now. Let's zoom in a bit here. Oh, there he is. Heading over to the other side. We'll slide in a little more, get a better look. There we go. And wait for the caboose to go by. And when we get to the other side, we'll get down to business. Okay, we are on the other side of the layout. Now, on this side, the speed is fairly reduced a bit more due to the track being buried in dirt, mud, and weeds. That's just the way it is. And Milwaukee Road, in real life, when it existed, had to deal with the same thing. So yes, this is how fast things move. So this little 9-foot by 9-foot switching layout is starting to seem a bit larger now, isn't it? So we're going to let him sneak on by at his own pace. What we're going to do is we get to the quarry, we're going to, since that's a double-ended siding, that does work in our favor. We'll cut one string of cars, this string here of the empty cars, loose. We'll run in and get the loaded ones and shove them onto the caboose, which we'll leave at the end of the siding. And then we'll just basically shove onto the caboose and then shove back to town with the caboose leading the way. This is a practice that is still practiced in, this is a technique, I should say, is still practiced in modern day railroading. So, we're about by here. This is the gravel spur. This is something we would switch later on this shift. We're not going to get to it today, though. Hope that's okay. A little bit of the gravel scene here. You guys have seen that in my previous blogs. So, alright. Next stop is the quarry. Alrighty, our patrol should be coming into view here any second, back behind the trees. Excuse me. So as you can see, we've got gondolas, and actually there's a flat car in the cut as well. I'll show you that. All loaded with fresh quarried stone. And we're going to get that stuff out of there and heading towards the mill. That's our plan for right now. So anyway, we're going to eventually get there. We'll go ahead and stop and cut the caboose off. Now you notice, if you've ever noticed in my videos, I use a bamboo skewer here. You can see it in the camera. I use that for uncoupling. All my trip pin hoses on my couplers, I clip them off. And in place of them, I glue in cow scale brake line air hoses. Now, with the train stop, we throw the turnout back here, the crew from the caboose does, and then they're going to be busy getting ready to bring this other cut out. So we're kind of imagining a little bit HO scale crewmen walking and running around. So here we go. We're going to pull forward just a little bit more. I want to make sure the gondola is clear at the other end. And we are clear. Now we're going to cut the engines from the cars, pull past the switch, and we'll get a view down the tracks backing onto the loaded cars. So we'll twist the skewer and we are uncoupled. All right, we are pulling up. And he'll kind of disappear in the trees, but I'll get you another view so you can still see everything. Alrighty, here we are. We're looking down at the other end of the spur. Here's our Jeeps. You notice too, I throw my turnouts by hand. I don't even use ground throws. I simply have dummy scale switch stands glued on beside the ties, or beside the rails, sorry. And that's what I do. So here we go. We are going to back down onto our cut of cars. Again, try and do all of this at one time. Film and operate and talk. I'm glad I threw the turnout. I couldn't actually remember if I did just for a second. That had been pretty embarrassing. Alright, so we'll creep up to the cars and stop the couple. Boom, there we go. We'll make sure everything's lined up correctly. It isn't quite, so we got to scoot our couplers around a little bit. That's just a fact of life. Alright, now we're going to shove onto the caboose. And here we go. Here we go. You can see it down in the distance, probably not, but the caboose is sitting down there waiting for us. As you can tell, this is a track that has not seen a lot of maintenance for quite a while. And we just coupled up to our caboose, and we'll go down there and meet the caboose. Alrighty, we should be getting the caboose here any second in view, coming around the bend. And nice, just seeing him through the trees now. You can tell it's kind of hard to see in here. Again, that's kind of the style of railroading down southern Indiana. Back out a little bit here on the camera. Yeah, here we come. Now we will stop here momentarily to throw the switch into the quarry, because we'll need to get to those later on. The crew will need to get to those cars. Now, since we are doing a shoving move, we do have a speed limitation. The way I have my decoders programmed on the speed table, if I run at a speed setting of 35 on my Digitrax DT100 throttle, that's the speed coming out of the staging yard and running through town on what would essentially be the main tracks, not really a main line. When we get over to this side of the layout, then it dumps down to 25. Now we stay at 25 no matter what when we're doing a pushing move. And it's just one of those little twists to throw in and make some variety. So here comes the power. And everything moves very slowly on the branch. And there you go. Here comes the caboose across the street here. Okay, the crew has already stopped to throw the switch into the siding here, so the caboose should be coming into view any second, as is now. They will stop at this next turnout, which I've kind of centered on right here, and they will throw the switch for that before heading into the mill complex. Now, in any sidings on this layout, the speed setting on the throttle goes down to 20. And just like on the railroad, speeds and siding and spurs are slower. Alright, let's head on in. We're going to drop the caboose off, and then we're going to store the rest of the loaded stone cars. We're going to store them on the siding here. Him inside here. I'm just going to duck behind the trees. We will stop short of the gravel crossing here, which you'll see that in a second. Alrighty. Make a little change of direction here. We will uncouple the caboose. Pull on out. We got the caboose uncoupled. We will do the same drill. We will stop short of the turnout and throw it so we can come back the other way. As you can tell, some very simple switching maneuvers, just like on the prototype, has taken up a fair amount of time. This doesn't mean real railroaders try to work efficiently, but they also don't fly around like magic elves either. Alright, we will throw the turnout back. And notice it's all hand thrown. And here we go. Now, this will pretty much conclude our segment on operations. Another time I will do a segment on switching out the mill. And I thank you very much. I forgot to have my headlight on. I'm going to do that over again.